Greetings. As you can see, I've got quite a collection of ladies' watches, and they all need batteries. Every single one of them uses an SR626SW or its clone 377 battery, with the exception of one watch which has actually two batteries in it because it's a backlit watch. We'll get to that one later. Before you begin, make sure your work area is clean. You have a soft surface to put the crystals on. You might also need a very good strong working light, a good lint-free cloth, possibly a magnifying glass, and all of these have snap-on backs, so you wouldn't need this for this application, but if you're going to get into screw backs, you're going to need a special tool or something like a blue tack or perhaps a pot and pan style cap remover like was used to be given away free for unscrewing bottle lids. Other things you want to have readily on hand are, of course, the watch batteries, a good jeweler's screwdriver set. In this case, there's two there. Perhaps a Swiss Army knife. It turns out that this tool is excellent for popping the backs off of watches. And, of course, the lint-free cloth, just in case you need to clean something else up. A plastic screwdriver or something equivalent is what you'll need to get the batteries out to avoid shorting something out and maybe damaging the movement inside the watch. If you'll check the watch over carefully, you should be able to find a slightly raised area such as this right here. That is your spot to insert the tool and pop the back off. In this case, I'm using the Swiss Army knife method. If you stick it in there, pry gently, the back comes right off. They all use a central carriage such as this, which is easily removed. In this case, there are two battery restraining methods that we'll take a look at. Each has a different method of holding the battery in place. This is the first method. I'll point out the watch manufacturers that use each method as we go through this. To remove the battery, just take your plastic screwdriver or other equivalent tool, pop it behind the battery and gently pry up. You want to be opposite the retaining tag, which is right there. You want to try to get it on this side so it'll come straight up and out. Put one back in. Then replace the little plastic retainer. And the cover, make sure you get the cover right. That notch goes over the stem for adjusting the time on the watch. And simply pop it back into place.
All of the watches except for the Mud, Esprit, and Veneer use the simpler method of battery retainage. The more complex method uses two tiny screws to hold the battery in place. You want to loosen them, but whatever you do, don't remove them. They are located in the following two locations. One is located here, and one is located here. Loosen them up, but definitely don't want to take them out. The retaining cap is shown right where the screwdriver is right now. That will allow you to slide the battery in under the retainer.
As always, the battery goes in positive side up. Now I've got to do is tighten those two screws back up. And as you can see, the second hand is clearly running, indicating that this is both a good watch and, of course, a brand new battery. I'll check all the others, most of those off camera. This is the same basic method. As is this Esprit watch, which has 4 tiny screws to hold the back in place, and they've already been loosened. So take a look inside that one. Then finally the veneer watch, which uses the same method, with the exception of that one watch that has a backlight on it. They're all pretty much the same. Change the batteries. In this case, the plastic retainers don't need to be removed. You just insert the battery by loosening these 2 screws. It wouldn't take them all the way out, whatever you do. Just back them off just enough to slip the battery in under this. Compared to the other design, these are kind of tricky to change the battery in. You have to loosen those 2 screws up, slide the battery in, being real careful you don't bend this back up as you're putting the battery in. You have to make sure you've got plenty of clearance here to send the battery in. Now, a few exceptions. Mr. Bongo here has no indentation, so the only way to get his cover off is to either use a Swiss Army knife or a knife blade and just stick it underneath the cover right there and lever up, and the cover will come off. But this one was one of the more difficult ones to get the cover off of. Inside, just like all the others, you want to finish up. This side touches first, this side drops second. Since this is a round cover, you want to be very careful about locating the stem notch so it intersects where the stem is. This one's labeled MZ Burger on the back of it, and it, unlike the others, actually has 2 batteries. It has 4 LEDs in it for night illumination, and everything is restrained in it with 4 very small Phillips screws. This one and this one actually take the top battery out for the illumination. This one and this one allow access so you can change the battery for the watch itself. It requires a small Phillips screwdriver, which is what basically I have here. There are the LEDs, and there's a standard watch for the simpler battery insertion. Now, the one thing to remember with these watches is you have to take the plastic insert out to be able to take the battery out or properly put the battery in. Sometimes it'll slide in with this end, but it'll never come out with this end. So once you've got it out, you can reach into it with your plastic screwdriver or tweezers and pop the battery free without too much trouble. Again, this watch uses 2 batteries. It's got a CR2025 for the LED illumination and a standard 377 battery. The larger battery goes underneath this, as it is here, top side up. positive side up. As far as where to get the batteries, eBay is probably the best source. I got 5, had to order them from China. Took almost a month to get here, but they were less than $2 including shipping. Typical pharmacy will probably want $3 to $5 for a single battery, and again I got 5 for $1.69. Here they are again. They all work. 5 have batteries. So this project was a success. Hope this helped you out. I didn't think it was particularly difficult to change the batteries in any of them. Just requires a lot of patience, especially with the ones with that special battery retainer. And just be real careful that you have to use a pocket knife to pop off a back, especially on that Bongo. I'd retain the services of my Swiss Army knife for most of them. That made it much easier to take the backs off. As far as putting them back on, just align them correctly and then press the covers until they pop into place. Hope this helps you out. See you on a future video. Have a great day.